After completing this lesson, you'll be able to create work planes and use parametric tools and extrude features to sketch, then model the buckle design. In this lesson, we're going to create the buckles for the outer socket. In the toolbar, select Construct, Offset Plane. In the browser, switch on the visibility for our inside profile canvas, and also the visibility for our origin planes. Then select the ground plane to work on. Select for a right view using the view cube, and then drag the manipulation arrow up to move the offset plane so the plane is in line with the top line of the top buckle on our profile sketch. Then click OK to close the dialog window. And since we're only working on the outer socket, in the browser, turn off the visibility for the inner socket liner and the inner socket itself. We now have the offset plane in the right position. We've turned off the visibility for all the other bodies. So in the toolbar, we can click Create New Sketch, and we can start to sketch the profile of our first buckle. So click New Sketch, then use the view cube to get a perspective view, then select the offset plane. Use the view cube to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Then in the toolbar, click Sketch, Rectangle, 2-point rectangle. Now anywhere on the canvas, click and drag. Enter 4mm, then tab on the keyboard and enter 20mm, then press return. And we're also going to draw another 2-point rectangle using the same dimensions and the same workflow. This time, allow Fusion to snap just to the left on the top line of the first rectangle we've drawn. The snap will be indicated with a blue cross, like here. Click and then drag. Enter 20mm for the length, tab on the keyboard, enter 4mm, then press return. Now if I zoom closer, I can delete this line which I don't need. In the toolbar, click Sketch, Trim. Select the line and delete it. What I also want to do is fillet these edges. In the toolbar, click Sketch, Fillet. Select the corner as shown, then use the arrow and drag it to apply a 4mm radius. Then click Sketch Fillet again. Click this corner and apply a slightly smaller radius of 3mm. When you've done this, you can press return on the keyboard. Now I just want to create a taper on the right hand side of the buckle where it will meet the outer socket. Select Sketch, Line and draw a line like this. Then select Sketch, Trim. Select and delete these 3 lines. Now we need to extrude the profile sketch to create the form. In the toolbar, click Create, Extrude, then select the profile sketch of the buckle. I'm going to use the view cube to get an angle on the profile sketch. Then I'll use the manipulator arrow to drag the extrusion out. In the dialog window, I'll enter -20mm directly, then click OK to close the window. I'm using the view cube to get an angle so that I can check the extrusion, and I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to sketch a series of rectangles onto this face of the buckle, which I'll then extrude cut to create the slots through which the Velcro straps will loop. In the toolbar, click Sketch, Rectangle, 2-point rectangle, and in the browser, turn off the outer socket body. This will make it easier to work on our sketch. From the bottom left corner, click and drag. Then enter a height of 16mm and a width of 7mm. For now, press return on the keyboard. We'll draw one more and then we'll dimension them to make sure they're in the correct position. So let's draw the second rectangle using the same workflow and the same dimensions. Now let's dimension off the top. Click Sketch, Sketch Dimension. Select the top line on the buckle, the top line on the slot, drag to the left, enter 2mm and press return. Now right click on the canvas, select Repeat Sketch Dimension and do exactly the same for the other rectangle slot. Repeat this workflow to dimension the left hand side of the first slot, enter 2mm again, and again repeat the workflow to dimension the right line of the first slot from the left line of the second slot. And again enter 2mm for the dimension. And while we're here, let's apply a fillet to the inside corners of both slots. Select Sketch, Fillet. Now select the 8 corners and enter a radius dimension of 1mm for them. When you've finished, click Stop Sketch. And now we can cut out the slots. In the toolbar, select Create, Extrude. Select the two profile sketch slots, then drag the arrows back through the buckle material, forcing a cut. Then click OK to close the window. Now the last thing we need to do is apply some more fillets to the front side of the buckle. So use the view cube to navigate to a right-hand view. Press F on the keyboard, which is the hotkey for fillet, then drag a selection window over the front of the buckle, like this. In the dialog window, enter 0.5 for the radius, then click OK to close the window. And that's our buckle build complete. In the next lesson, we'll be using our buckle design to make additional copies, and we'll position all the buckles correctly on the outer socket design.